My dear friends, this is third part of previous video named Spiritually Grounded. So friends, we talked about the mindset, how your thoughts shape your life, how negative thinking can trap you, and how a strong mind rooted in faith makes you unshakable. But now let's talk about something just as important. Something that a lot of people forget when they think about being spiritually strong. Your actions. Because here's the truth. Faith isn't just about what you believe. It's about what you do. You can have all the right thoughts. You can say you trust Allah. You can tell yourself you're spiritually grounded. But if your actions don't match your words, it doesn't mean anything. Let me put it this way. Imagine a guy who says he wants to be fit. He watches workout videos. He follows fitness influencers. He even talks about how important health is. But he never actually exercises, never fixes his diet, never does anything different. And then he wonders why he's still out of shape. It's obvious, right? Because wanting something isn't enough. You have to put in the work. And it's the same with faith. You can't just talk about being spiritually strong. You have to live it. And that starts with daily habits. 'Cause listen, your habits, they define you. They shape your iman. They either push you closer to Allah or pull you away. And the problem is, a lot of us are stuck in bad habits, wasting time, ignoring salah, drowning in social media, procrastinating on everything that actually matters. And then we wonder why we feel disconnected, why our hearts feel heavy, why we don't feel that deep connection with Allah. It's the habits. It's always the habits. So if you really want to be spiritually grounded, you have to fix what you do every single day. Because those small daily actions, they build your faith, or they break it. Let's get practical. What are the habits of someone who is spiritually strong? First, prayer. And no, I don't just mean praying 5 times a day. That's the bare minimum. I mean praying properly, with focus, with humility, with a mindset that every salah is a conversation with Allah. Because if your prayer is weak, your whole life will be weak. Period. Second, reading Quran. And not just for the sake of reading, but actually reflecting on it. Because the Quran, it's not just a book. It's guidance. It's healing. It's the answer to everything you're struggling with. But if it's sitting on your shelf collecting dust, then how are you supposed to get that guidance? You can't. Third, watching what you consume. 'Cause let's be real. We fill our minds with so much junk. Mindless scrolling. Music that does nothing for our soul. TV shows full of haram. Conversations full of gossip. And then we wonder why our hearts feel distant from Allah. It's because we're feeding ourselves poison. And just like you can't eat junk food all day and expect to be healthy, you can't consume garbage all day and expect your faith to be strong. Doesn't work like that. You gotta protect what enters your mind. Because what goes in always comes out. Fourth, staying productive. Because laziness is a killer. And Shaitan loves lazy people. Because when you're just wasting time, that's when bad habits creep in. That's when negative thoughts take over. That's when you start slipping without even realizing it. But when you keep yourself busy with good, when you're working on your goals, when you're using your time wisely, there's no room for distractions, no room for bad habits, no room for slipping away from your purpose. And that's why Islam pushes productivity. Because being active, being useful, being disciplined, that's part of being a strong believer. The Prophet said, "The strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, but there is good in both." Muslim. And strength isn't just physical. It's mental, spiritual. It's how you carry yourself in all areas of life. So if you really want to be spiritually grounded, You gotta start fixing your habits. You gotta start taking your actions seriously. Because your faith isn't just in your heart. It's in your daily choices. And if those choices aren't leading you toward Allah, then what are they doing? So here's your challenge. Look at your daily routine. Ask yourself, what habits are strengthening my faith? What habits are weakening it? And then start making changes, one step at a time. Because being spiritually grounded, it's not about being perfect. It's about making consistent efforts. And when you do that, when you start choosing the right actions every single day, your faith will grow. Your connection with Allah will get stronger. And your whole life will change. Guaranteed. Alright. So friends, we talked about actions. How your daily habits either build your faith or break it. How Salah, Quran, and cutting out distractions are game changers. But now, let's talk about something that most people struggle with. Something that can either keep you steady or completely shake you. Dealing with hardships. 'Cause let's be real. Life is not always smooth. It doesn't matter how strong your faith is. You're gonna face struggles. You're gonna feel pain. You're gonna have moments where you ask, why is this happening to me? And in those moments, your reaction is everything. Because here's what happens. Some people, when life gets tough, they run to Allah. They pray harder. They make more dua. They remind themselves that this is a test. And they stay patient, knowing that Allah never sends hardship without a reason. But others, they break. They start questioning everything. They lose hope. They let the hardship pull them away from Allah instead of toward Him. And that's what Shaitan wants. He wants you to think your problems mean Allah doesn't love you. That your struggles mean you're being punished. That your pain will never end. But that's all lies. Because if Allah puts you through something, there's always a reason. Always. Even if you don't see it right now. Let's break it down. Why does Allah test us? First, to purify us. 'Cause let's be honest. If life was always easy, we'd get lazy. We'd start slipping. We'd forget our purpose. But hardship, it wakes you up, humbles you, pushes you back to Allah in a way that ease never does. And sometimes, it's the only way to clean your heart. The Prophet said, no fatigue, nor disease, nor sorrow, nor sadness, nor hurt, nor distress befalls a Muslim, even if it were the prick he receives from a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of his sins for it. Bukhari and Muslim. That means every pain you feel, every tear you shed, every struggle you face. It's erasing your sins. It's making you lighter for the next life. And if you stay patient, it's raising your rank in Jannah. Second, to strengthen us. 'Cause nothing builds you like hardship. You ever notice how people who've been through a lot have a different kind of wisdom? A different kind of strength? Because struggle shapes you, teaches you resilience, forces you to grow. And sometimes the hardest moments of your life are actually preparing you for something bigger, something you can't even see yet. Third, to bring us back to Him. Because the truth is, sometimes we only turn to Allah when we're desperate. When life is smooth, we forget. We get distracted. We get caught up in dunya. But when hardship hits, that's when the most real du'as come out. That's when the deepest connection with Allah happens. And that's a mercy. Because the worst thing that could ever happen is not hardship. It's being cut off from Allah. That's the real loss. So if your struggles are pulling you closer to Him, then that's not a punishment. That's love. That's guidance. That's Allah saving you from something worse. Now let's talk about how to handle hardships like a believer. 'Cause look, everyone faces struggles. But not everyone handles them right. Some people let hardship destroy them. Others use it to grow. The difference? Patience and trust. Allah tells us in the Quran, "And seek help through patience and prayer. Indeed, it is difficult except for the humbly submissive to Allah." 245. That's the formula. Patience, prayer, and trust in Allah's plan. First, patience doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you don't let the pain make you ungrateful. Means you don't lose hope. Means you keep going even when it's hard. The Prophet lost his parents, lost his wife, lost his children, faced insults, attacks, betrayals, and still he never lost faith. He never complained against Allah, because he understood this world is not Jannah. It was never meant to be easy. Second, prayer is your lifeline. You ever feel so overwhelmed you don't even know what to do? That's when you drop into sujud. Because sujud is not just a posture. It's the closest you can be to Allah. It's where the heaviest burdens get lifted. It's where the deepest healing happens. And if you're not turning to Allah in your hardest moments, then where are you turning? Because no one else can fix your heart like He can. Third, trust the plan. This one is hard. Because when you're in the middle of a storm, you don't always see the wisdom. You don't always know why things are happening. But here's what you do know. Allah is in control. Allah is the best of planners. And nothing happens without His permission. Which means, your pain has a purpose. Even if you don't understand it yet. Think about Prophet Yusuf. Thrown into a well as a child. Sold as a slave. Imprisoned for years. If you saw him in the middle of his test, you'd think, his life is ruined. But fast forward. He became a ruler. Leader. And he looked back and said, "Indeed, my Lord is subtle in what He wills." 12:100. Subtle. Meaning Allah's plan was always working. Even when it didn't make sense. Even when it felt unfair. Even when it seemed like everything was going wrong. It was actually leading him to something better. And that's how you have to look at your life. Because your hardship, it's not the end of your story. It's just a chapter. Test. A stepping stone to something greater. So don't let it break you. Don't let it make you lose hope. Keep going. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Because if you stay patient through the storm, you will see the sun again. And when you do, you'll look back and realize, Allah had your back the whole time. Dear friends, if these words touched your heart and you seek spiritual peace, then subscribe this channel. Like this video and hit the bell icon for more inspiring and faith-strengthening content.